I just finished a Nightmare on Elm Street marathon. Took me 6 months. Okay, I have to admit I watched them multiple times. But what was I supposed to do? There's such a great franchise of movies. Well, with some hit and miss. Next few weeks, I will do a review of each of the movies of the original run. I'll present the movies in order, and the last movie I will be reviewing is the one that everybody in the 90s was hoping for, Freddy vs. Jason. Okay, let's start with the first one. After all, it's the one that started the franchise. The first movie was written and directed by Wes Craven. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, he's not really well known. He only has about 11 movies that all the horror fans can name from the top of their heads. To get serious for a minute, he's not considered the master of horror for nothing. He's made lasting contribution to the genre, and created icons. I mean, who's never heard of Freddy? And who's never seen the mask from Scream? And that's just a few examples. So Wes Craven wrote the script in 6 months. It was inspired by a series of articles detailing the unexplained death of South Asian refugees in their sleep. He used a lot of his youth for inspiration. In an interview, he explained that Fred was the name of a kid who used to beat him up. He also explained that the hat that Freddy wears was the hat of a drunk that scared him at some point. He also used his dreams as a source of inspiration. Keep that in mind for when we get to Wes Craven's new nightmare. So, when I was a kid, Freddy used to scare the shit out of me. What is more terrifying for a kid than a killer that can get you where you're the most vulnerable? In your dreams. The first movie I've seen was actually the fourth one, and I've seen it at daycare if you could believe it. The lady and her daughters would watch Freddy and Jason movies when kids were there.
I also saw Evil Dead 1 with one of the daughters and her friends. She thought it would be funny to tell me it was the first Freddy movie. So, for the longest time, I thought that Evil Dead 1 was the first Freddy movie. It's not until I saw Evil Dead as a teenager that I realized that it had nothing to do with Freddy.
Considering all that, I didn't watch the first Freddy movie until I was a young adult. I mean, the movies were not available at the video club, and I had to wait for the DVD release to watch them. And, it became a very big revelation for me because, as an adult, I could see all the humor behind the movie, which I was not seeing as a kid. Before I get off on a tangent, let's take a look at the story. Oops, sorry. Got confused there. In my defense, Wes Craven is redoing something similar in his movie. He's setting up this character called Tina
to look as if she's the main character, but just like in Psycho, we quickly come to realize that she's not. Do you guess how they shot this scene? No? They basically built the room on a rotating frame, so the whole room was turning. Because the camera doesn't move, it feels as if the room is stationary. It is a very simple effect when you think of it.
So, if Tina is not the main character, who is?
It's Nancy, played by Heather Langenkamp.
You're serious. How can you say I don't take her death seriously?
After Tina's death, we're all wondering what's going on. I mean, we all saw this horrible death scene, and the police thinks that she got killed by her boyfriend. And that includes Nancy's father, who's played by John Saxon.
You see, for the movie to sell better, they needed a few well-known actors. One of them was John Saxon.
What was she doing there? She lived there.
I don't mean her. I mean you.
Just move away from us, son.
Tina's boyfriend gets arrested by Nancy's father. This will prove to be a very bad thing for the boyfriend.
I really have an issue with that scene. I mean, we all know he got killed in his dreams, but since we saw the sheet actually moving, I was expecting it to stay kind of realistic. Because, you don't die right away when you're being strangled. And technically CPR might have brought him back. But, it's Freddy, so let's just assume he died in his dream and move on. Have to mention something. I didn't notice at first, but this guy there is Johnny Depp. It's his first time playing in a movie.
Following that incident, Nancy's mom takes her to the sleep clinic.
What the hell are dreams anyway?
It is so weird to see her mom smoke in the clinic. Nancy faces Freddy in her dream and wakes up with his hat. The mom freaks out and has bars installed on all the windows of their home.
Really? This is going to help? She pulled out her hat out of nowhere, and bars on the windows are going to help? Have to mention the mom has a serious drinking problem. And this is where we learn why.
A bunch of us parents tracked him down after they let him out. Took gasoline.
That's right. They burned Freddy alive. No wonder she has a drinking problem.
Hi, how you doing?
So, knowing her parents wouldn't be of much help, Nancy decided to take the problem into her own hands. And she asks Glenn to help watch over her while she sleeps and she tries to bring Freddy out. But I have no idea what she's asking him, because the last time she asked him to stay awake, it didn't take long that he was asleep. And that's exactly what happens. And you know what happens when you fall asleep, right?
Remember how I explained that they created a room that could rotate? Well, that's exactly what they're using right now. They have a tank of red water on top, and they're pouring it down into the room.
This is an awesome scene, and it's very inspired by this famous scene from The Shining. You know which one.
I'm your boyfriend now, Nancy.
Sorry. Yes.
Nancy.
There's nobody here of that name.
Oh, sorry.
Gotta hate wrong numbers. So, where were we? Damn. Yes.
Nancy.
Wrong number means dial something different, you moron. Okay, so when Nancy learns that her father is investigating the murder scene across the street, she tells him that she's going to bring out the killer. So the dad asks one of his cops to tell him if there's something weird happening in the house.
Watch my daughter's house. If you see anything funny, call me.
Anything funny like what?
So, Nancy starts to lay trap around the house. It's like a Home Alone thing, but it works.
That's where you start thinking the dad didn't choose the smartest cop to watch over the house.
I got him trapped! Help! Where are you?
Everything is gonna be alright!
Really? She's yelling like that and he's not doing anything? We have to wait for Freddy to be on fire for him to fetch the dad. They see the mom being taken away by Freddy. The dad leaves the room and Nancy stays in, and that's where Freddy comes back. But Nancy figures out how to defeat him.
Shit.
We think it's finished, but no. They had to figure out a way to make a sequel. So Nancy goes outside, talks with her mom as if nothing happened, and she gets into her friend's car, and this happens. This is how the movie ends. I'm not quite sure what to make of it. Is Nancy still alive? What about her friends? Was it all just a dream? Is this a dream?